What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I am back with another video. This time once again, we're going to look at the Los Angeles Lakers, what many said was the championship favorite for the 2022 season. As you know right now, their team is below 500, and they look absolutely awful coming off a loss on Christmas. So with that being the case, I'm going to evaluate this Lakers team and give you my thoughts on what I think is going to happen, some trades that are possible, as well as what history tells us about a LeBron James team that is underperforming after having championship expectations. So first up in this video, let's just state the obvious. This Lakers team, they are not working. They're old, they don't play defense, their offense is absolutely atrocious, and the overall star players, they're not meshing well. Right now as I'm making this video, the Lakers have a bottom 10 defense, a bottom 5 offense, and they're number 1 in the NBA in pace. And the cherry on top, the Lakers are still the oldest team in the NBA. And right now, I have serious doubts that they can even make it past the first round come playoff time. Now for many people on YouTube, you're going to watch a lot of Lakers videos and how they absolutely suck. That is all true, that's all fine and well, but for my videos, I want to look at NBA history and what history tells us about a LeBron James-led team that is underperforming. And the team I look to for an exact comparison is the 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers. This team, just like the Lakers, they had a huge overhaul in the offseason, some big-time pickups, and some older NBA veterans. And exactly the same, they were both the oldest teams in the NBA. Now looking at that Cavaliers roster, they had some star-studded names. They had Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, LeBron himself, even Kevin Love. From a star perspective, that team was absolutely loaded. What people didn't realize, they were all past their prime or nearing the end of their prime. You weren't getting prime Isaiah Thomas coming off injury, you definitely weren't getting prime D Rose, and D Wade, he was well past his prime. But unfortunately the NBA media at that time, the big narrative was LeBron had his deepest team he'd ever had, and he had plenty of talent to lead them to the NBA Finals in a weak Eastern Conference. And very similar to this Lakers team, around the midway point of the season, this Cavs team, they were around 500 and they were definitely underperforming. So what happened? Once again, LeBron James, quote-unquote, the GM, had a huge roster overhaul. He moved out guys like Jay Crowder, Channing Frye, Derrick Rose, D Wade, Iman Shumpert. All those guys were shipped out in favor of younger role player talent, guys like Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, Rodney Hood, as well as George Hill. And once again, the narrative took a complete 180. As after a victory versus Boston, LeBron James himself claimed this team, they were a squad and they were a championship contender. Now, of course, that media narrative, like many narratives, didn't last long. The 2018 Cavs, they were dubbed LeBron's worst ever supporting cast. Now, I'd like to point out LeBron James, aka the GM, had control of that team from day one. And in Cleveland, he was basically their owner as well as their GM. What he said was law, and any trades he wanted to make, he could definitely do. And that right there is the quick, condensed version of the 2018 Cavaliers, a team I believe has kind of been reincarnated to the Los Angeles Lakers. As once again, the GM has made a big-time offseason trade, getting Russell Westbrook, the big splashy signing, the superstar, instead of getting someone like Buddy Hield, who's a much better fit and a great 3-and-D player. And looking at this Lakers roster, they do have tons of Hall of Fame talent who's way past their prime. And I think around the trade deadline, someone like Russell Westbrook could definitely be traded, and if I had to bet on it, I think he will. As LeBron James, he's still chasing Michael Jordan, looking for his 6th championship ring. And as you guys know, LeBron James, he's cutthroat and he is ruthless. You don't think he'll trade Westbrook after 35 games? He traded Dwayne Wade, his best friend, after 20 games. LeBron James is going to do anything he can to win his 5th and even 6th championship. And once again, I want to make it very clear, the narrative for this Lakers team has shifted completely. As coming to the season, Lakers fans, they had them as the championship favorites. Melo, Westbrook, they're going to win rings. LeBron's going to be the GOAT, have his 5th championship. He's going to pass Jordan. All this nonsense was said, all this hype was built, and believe me, I've been watching it all. And once again, looking at NBA history from an historical standpoint, if this Lakers team doesn't make the playoffs or they're a first round exit, they'll be one of the most disappointing super teams in NBA history. Having LeBron James, Anthony Davis, as well as Westbrook, combined with tons of role players, not making it past the first round will be a huge black mark on LeBron's legacy and his overall quest to catch Michael Jordan. Once again, my personal thoughts on this Lakers team: when it's all said and done, their roster right now will be drastically different come playoff time. And I think in the playoffs, they may make it past the first round if they're lucky, but the second round, the conference finals, even the NBA finals, I definitely don't see happening. And I think depending on how the Lakers go out, this could be one of the worst and most disastrous super teams of all time, up there with the 0-4 Lakers, the most disappointing teams in NBA history. And for someone like Westbrook, 3 straight years he's been traded from OKC to Houston, Houston to Washington, from Washington to LA. During that time period, he's played with multiple superstars and virtually has nothing to show for it. And to really go full circle in this video, looking at the 2018 Cavaliers, their biggest benefit was playing in a weak and depleted Eastern Conference. This Lakers team has no such benefit. The Western Conference this year is still packed with all-star talent, and their teams are as good as ever. You have the Suns, the Warriors, the Jazz, even teams like the Clippers. All those teams are competitive and above average NBA squads. For the Lakers right now, they're a borderline playoff team, possibly in the play-in tournament. As we know, anything can happen in that play-in tournament as the 2021 Golden State Warriors. And in some wild hypothetical, let's say LA, they make the 7th seed and they're in the playoffs. At some point, they're going to have to beat the Suns as well as the Warriors and in the Bucks or the Nets. Do you see this Lakers team beating all 3 of those teams in 3 straight rounds? In my own eyes, I think it's virtually impossible, and if they pull it off, it would be a huge monumental upset. But coming back to reality, this Lakers team, they're most likely a first round exit, losing to the Suns or even the Warriors. So with that being said, that's my final thoughts. I was a believer in this Lakers team at first. I was really hesitant to write them off, but after the Christmas Day game, it's an absolute dumpster fire and there's simply no hope. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.